shows for free a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications options. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatters1892@gmail.com.
Critics attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright when they come and say to you, you're the only thing that makes us all believe. And it feels alright where the worlds collide. Manipulation stands to make us red. What time you said is coming over you. You wish it upon a star. You wish it on a star. You are, you are, you are. You fight back, it's an all-out attack. It feels like I've been taken on the world's machine. Because I want it more than anyone can dream. You look back and it's all in the past. You tell me how you live by all the things you do. Well, you can be yourself, but maybe I'm not you. And it feels alright when they come and say to you,
good afternoon, welcome to a live version of Talk of the Toon, not pre-recorded, and it is a welcome to Sid from Songs from the Attic. How are you, mate?
Very good, mate. Nice to know that I don't have to pretend it's a different day.
Yeah, I know. God, the last couple of shows we kept me and you both been good. Yeah, and Wednesday or Saturday, tomorrow. No, that's yeah. So we're live today, which is great. No midweek game anyway to worry about. But don't forget as well, if you don't get involved in the chat and you want to involve yourself in the show, you can email us now at nufcmatterspodcast@1892@gmail.com. And I guess for this as well, when Rob comes on halfway through the show as well, if you've got an album you'd like Rob to review, maybe drop it into there as well. We've already had some great response on the email since we set it up, and lots of stuff coming in there. My first match as well, which we now do on the Amigos.
Yeah.
Got to have a bit of detail, but there's a couple of really good ones coming this week. So thank you to the people who've sent them over to us, which is great stuff. But let's get on to the match. Back to winning ways, Sid, at the weekend. What was your making of the Southampton win 3-1 away at the Southampton stadium? What was your feelings on the game?
Yeah, decent, wasn't it? But it wasn't bad. I mean, they did what they had to do, which is good, because often in the past, in years gone by, this has always been like a sort of banana skin, hasn't it? And when they scored within 10 minutes, I was driving back from my mother's care home. Unfortunately, I was driving back and they scored, and I was like, ah. So I listened on the radio, and you sort of fear the worst. You fear Derby County, don't you? You know, for those of us who remember the Derby County, and also tell me, I might be wrong. I might be making this up now. Were we in the same situation when Sunderland got the lowest points total? And I'm sure they got a number of points off us that year as well.
Probably did, yeah.
Yeah, so it just all comes flooding back, and you start fearing the worst. But we played really well. We played well. I mean, it's funny because it went against the grain, didn't it? The first 10 minutes, by the sounds of it, I watched the highlights. We We were front foot, we were attacking. It looked a totally different team, and then he went up and scored. Poor defending, I have to say. Dan Burn could arguably have done a little bit better, I think, and I've no idea. And I looked at the highlights. I still can't figure out who was supposed to mark the guy who stood on his own in the middle of the box and scored for them. I couldn't figure it out. I didn't know who was supposed to mark him. I genuinely don't know. So that was disappointing. I think I have to say that. But then after that, everything was just fabulous, and we could have absolutely tonked them. We really could have ripped them apart. And I don't think anybody could have grumbled if it had been 6 or 7. I really don't think that at all. I thought we just played well. We weren't exceptional like other weeks when we've been exceptional. We just played well, played all right, did the job. And that's all you can ask. There were some real standout performances. I mean, he's just brilliant. I mean, the goals were terrific. The penalty was clear. I don't understand the commentary, the comments that I've seen and that I've watched on the YouTube shows there. The commentators' comments at the time were just hilarious. Efenakuku, I think, used to play for Wimbledon. He was a good player, actually a good player. I always liked him. I didn't understand his gripe. I don't get it. The guy took him, the guy tackled him from behind, didn't get the ball, caught his foot as he was about to shoot. It's a stone cold penalty. It's penalty nailed on, isn't it? So I didn't understand that at all. And I didn't understand why it took so long on VAR. That's just stupid. Correct decision, but silly to just take such a long time. That should have been a quick once over. Oh yeah, that's clear. There we go. Under a minute. Then Isak's second goal was just absolutely sensational, wasn't it? It's a superb pass from Murphy in terms of pace, and it broke the lines, and then a sublime touch by Isak. I mean, the first touch, and it just set him up. He just opened his body and just bent it into the corner. And I know people harp on about the analogies with Thierry Henry, but it wasn't it? It was very, very similar. We've seen that goal hundreds of times. And it was a really magnificent finish, really superb. But Murphy's pass, brilliant. So well done to him again with another assist. I think that's 8 this year. And then unlucky Murphy again. Unlucky, hit the bar. He must have the record in the Premier League in the last 4 years of hitting the bar. He's either hit the bar or it's incredible the amount of times he hits the post. It's just bonkers. If he'd actually been a foot under on all these occasions, he'd have about 20 goals. The amount of times he hits the post, it's like the crossbar challenge for him every game, isn't it? And he seems to succeed on a weekly basis. But there were some great performances, and none more than Tonalis, who week in, week out, he seems to be the best player that we have. And I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine, and there's a real possibility in my eyes that Isak's going to score 30 goals this year, possibly Premier League goals. Yet, Tonalis might be man of the player of the season, which is crazy, isn't it? You've got a guy who's maybe missed 25% of the opening of the season, and he might well be our player of the season, which other clubs, I don't think would comprehend that at all and would understand it. I think he's only now starting to get the recognition in some of the press. I know Merson was rabbiting on about him and a couple of others. No doubt he'd be linked to other clubs in the next couple of months, when they give it the discover that he's a world-class footballer. And we have 2 world-class footballers. We don't have any more than that. I don't buy all of this sort of, we've got 3, 4, 5. We haven't. We've got 2. We've got 2 world-class footballers. And Gary Lineker, I said this the other day, and I go along exactly with this, where he talks about a world-class squad of 23. So that's the way I do it. And we would have 2 players who, for me, would guarantee a world-class into the squad of a world squad of 23. And that's Isak and that's Tonalis. They're both exceptional footballers. I mean, already he would already get, and it sounds daft, I'm embarrassed to say this, he would already get into my all-time Newcastle 11. With such few appearances. I had Barry Venison, as you know, as my sweeper and my captain in my Newcastle United all-time 11, and he replaces him. He's got everything. He's fast. His reading of the game, he's almost, in terms of reading of the game, it's like a sweeper version of Jonathan Woodgate. in terms of he predicts what's going to happen before it actually occurs, and he just goes and mops it up. And before, he doesn't slide in, doesn't do any stupid challenges. He's just able to predict where the ball's going to go and read the game really, really well. The guy is exceptional. He's fast. He's strong on the ball. He's hard to knock off. He's got a great pass on him. He can finish, as was proven by the other day, even though he's playing much deeper now. He's got a great pass in terms of slotting the ball through as well. He rarely holds onto the ball more than 2 touches. As I've mentioned before, it's got that Alan Ball thing as well. It's touch, pass. And his vision is just magnificent. We have the potential to have a real superstar on our hands, and I know I'm bigging him up here, but I can't remember the last time I saw a play like that. You know, it's for week in, week out. He's done it for over, for a bit of time now, and you're thinking, wow, this is some footballer. It is some footballer that we've got on our hands. He's just got everything. He's got everything. He's got a bit of the Brian Robson about him in terms of being able to sort of drift, run up and drift in and score. He's got the tougher, stronger player aspect to him. I mean, I think Rodri's the best midfield player in the world at the moment, or until the injury, of course. And we've got the potential to get the next guy off the block, if you like, with Tonalis. He's that good a footballer. If he carries on the way he is, it's no surprise he was. I think he was the AC Milan captain as well at a very, very young age. So you can see why. Don't want to put too much pressure on him, and I have done. I appreciate it by saying we've got a potential.
It's putting people on a pedestal, isn't it? I mean, I think we're being, devoid of quality players under the Ashley regime, and I think, we had flash in the pans people who came along for a couple of seasons. Your Johan Kabais stood out particularly.
Kabay was a very good player, but you wouldn't class Kabay as world class, would you? You said he was a very
good footballer. But the point I'm trying to make is that we've been through such a bad period that when Bruno emerged as a star player at Newcastle, a lot of people were saying he's world class, he's this, he's that, he's the other. But I think Tonalis a step above Bruno in a lot of ways. I agree. I know they're slightly different players, but it's when you're talking about blue chip players and players that you wouldn't want to sell, you're talking about Tonalis, you're talking about Alexander Isak, and you're potentially talking about Anthony Gordon as 3 players at the moment that you wouldn't want to lose. I think Gordon's still learning his craft. I know it's not a popular opinion, but I still think Isak is. I think Tonalis is probably the one world class player in the club at the moment. I think the likes of Gordon and Isak are certainly on their way to that, and I think Bruno certainly holds his own. But as Keith Gray described Tonalis, the love child of Pirlo and Gattuso, period. It's a great way of describing him, Keith. But yeah, I think he's world class. I think Isak's got the potential. I think I still need to be convinced that he can do it season in, season out. I think this is another season where he's in amongst the goals. If we can have an injury-free run in, he's certainly going to hit 25, 30 goals this season, you would imagine.
He did it last year.
And I think if he does it again, I think the praise is well deserved. But it was interesting because we didn't get a chance to talk about it. I think I stuck it on the Amigos on Friday, but TalkSport did a poll: who was the best striker in the world at this moment in time? And the top 3 were Harry Kane third, Haaland second, Isaac number 1 at the moment. So probably Arsenal fans voting for that, I would imagine. But and Newcastle fans.
Liverpool, according to the latest rumours.
Oh yeah, I've never seen that. I
mean, I would put Salah in there, but I'm not sure I would class Salah as a striker. He's an odd one. He's a sort of hybrid player. Salah is genuinely world class, by the way. I'll put that out there. He's magnificent.
Yeah, I agree.
Incredible. But I think he is. I think he is currently the best centre forward in the world, on form, absolutely. I think he's got more than Haaland has got in terms of his game. But going back to Tonalis for a second there, you just rarely see players where you go, oh my God, after a few games, Gascoigne, one of them, you watch him, you go, wow, he's not a Gascoigne footballer. Gascoigne was all about skill and dribble and strength. And Tonalis is a totally different style of footballer. But he's one of them we go, wow. We've got something really unusual. I mean, we've seen good, excellent players, but I would never class them as world class. Robert Lee, top player. I mean, the last world-class player that we had as a midfielder for me, although he never played for Newcastle when he was world-class, was Terry McDermott. When he went to Liverpool, he was unbelievable. He PFA Player of the Year and all the rest of it. But I'm not sure we've had a world-class midfielder, because Gascoigne was probably, obviously, at his best at Spurs, wasn't quite at his best at Newcastle. We didn't have him long enough to say he's this, you could see it, but it wasn't there long enough.
Yeah.
So this, and I didn't see Tony Green, so I can't comment, But this is really sort of different. Bruno is magnificent as well, but I think he's just slightly under that level because of his pace factor. What Bruno is that Tonalis not, of course, he's a street footballer. And he can do all those little passes on unusual angles and do weird things. Yeah, Biazzi's brilliant. Biazzi's the best player we've ever had. But Biazzi, what was Biazzi's position? I'm not sure. It's his 10. It was 10. He sort of admitted the number 10, didn't he? So it's that sort of. So I would describe. I just think he's fabulous. Bruno though is top draw, but just the next level down because of his pace for me. Bruno might edge into a squad, but I'm not sure. I'm really unsure. And Big Joe's a totally different type of player,
Yeah, he's not world class. He's not world class, Big Joe. But he's certainly repaid the money that we outlaid on him. There's no doubt about it. But he's not. He's
in a funny sort of way. Big Joe might get into a squad ahead of Bruno because you want a different type of player. And he's
maybe
be, that sort of destroyer. He's got something about him, hasn't he? He's been magnificent to watch. So yeah.
I think the one we were looking for two big decisions at the weekend, weren't we? The first one was in goal. Dubravka, of course, has played in goal in this wonderful run while Pope's been injured. Pope was fit; he was on the bench. So, what did you make of that? Right decision?
Absolutely. And for me, if he carries on his form, sounds really harsh now. I want a number one in the summer, and I would have him as my number two, and I would sell Pope. And I mean, they're talking about Trafford. For me, the obvious decision is sell Trafford back to Burnley if they want to do that, of course. I'm not assuming anything here, but he has played for them, so the fans are big fans of his as well, of course. You'd get money for him. You'd certainly get 5 to 10 million back for him. He's not past it by any means. And you go on, whether you get a Trafford or you get another goalkeeper, the Liverpool guy I'm a big fan of, and others. I'm sure there's others out there. I think there's the French goalkeeper that everybody's raving about as well. They'll know what they're going to do. They know what they're going to do, and they will get a goalkeeper. I have no doubt about that. But that'll be the summer. And Dubravka pulled off a fantastic save. I mean, that overhead shot was great, brilliant shot, really well improvised. But what a save! I thought it was fabulous. And I thought he had a good game. And again, he's looking really good. His footwork's brilliant. Really, really impressive. I can't fault him. Cannot knock him at all. And the other decision you're going to see, of course, is the centre half situation, which was a surprise. And shares a strange one in it because he's not been anywhere near the same form as last year, where I thought he was up there as one of the players of the season. He was magnificent. I've rated him really, really highly. He's a top player. But I think I personally, I would let him go in the summer. I would let him go on a free transfer in the summer. I think it's either catching up with him or you can't have a whole year where your form's not being great. And so far we've had over half a season now where his form's not being great. And it's disappointing. It is disappointing.
Yeah.
Making silly mistakes. Yes, he got away with one as well when he stuck his head down. You shouldn't be doing that as a centre half. I don't care if anybody shouts from behind. You just header it. And that's the way it works. So I really like him, but I think we need another centre. We need two centre halves probably in the summer, in my opinion. Because I want to see a speed merchant. If Kelly goes, I want to see a speed merchant in the left centre half and a one at the right centre half, at least as cover. Because I'll hold it out there. I'm not absolutely convinced by Botman. People give it the whole Rolls Royce thing, which he's a very good footballer, but he's got no pace. Yeah. And to me, it's what matters in the Premier League. And I know John Terry's an exception, and he was magnificent. But we've got to have an understanding partnership if that's the case, where one person's going to drop off, and they've got to be able to play properly as a pair if that's the case. But at the minute, he gets caught out with pace. And Shaw's got none either now because he's 33 going on 34 soon and being a magnificent footballer. But
An emotional farewell for Miggy as well at the weekend. I mean, he almost crowned it with a goal as well, didn't he? But he was pushed forward, by these teammates and how and allowed to kiss the badge and give a wave to the fans and But ultimately it looked like the farewell. Then we had confirmation from an unofficial source, but which is usually a good one, which is Fabrizio Romano on X. Here we go. Terms agreed, paperwork agreed, and he said goodbye to these teammates at the training ground, which I think that signals the end. But I mean, how would you describe Miggy Almiron's time on Tyneside?
Mixed, I think, is the phrase. He played out of position most of his career at the club. He's a number 10. He's not a right winger. I don't think he's a very good right winger, if I'm being perfectly honest, but I think he's a decent number 10. So he never got the opportunity that much to play in his proper position. I mean, I was surprised to find he'd scored 30 goals. And that did surprise me. So not bad. He needed to move. I think he needed to move probably a year ago, if I'm being brutally honest, for his own career and for the fact that he wasn't going to get a game in Newcastle. But you can't do nothing but wish him well, though, and hopefully he'll get to play in his proper position, which is number 10, and hopefully start banging them in for Atlanta. He's clearly a club that he loves and he wants to go back to. So good luck to him, and yeah, he played with a smile on his face and all those sort of cliches, if you like. But what you didn't hear, you never heard anything bad about him at the club. Wasn't in the papers for doing anything bad. He was never unprofessional. He was a model pro. So yeah, well done to him. And as I say, Keith Downey said there, people were very upset today as he left the training ground for the last time and said his goodbyes to all his teammates and that. So yeah, I'm sure everybody wishes him well. It would be nice to play Atlanta again in the summer. That would be quite nice.
Mark
Yeah.
Byers doesn't get this. He mentioned this last night. I didn't have time to come to it on the fans forum because it's quite a busy show. But he says, Miggy, decent lad, but purple patch aside, I don't understand the misty-eyed send-off he's been getting.
Yeah, that's sort of what I've sort of inferred there, isn't it? Really. Good luck to him and wish him all the best. He's obviously a lovely lad. As I keep saying, played at the position. So it's really hard to judge him, really, as a footballer because he's not a right winger. He's just not a right winger. He just wasn't. He had one foot and the other one was to stand on. And it was so infuriating, but he did have that purple patch. That's why it always annoys me when people talk about Murphy having a purple patch. Well, he's had a purple patch for nigh on 18 months, if that's the case, if you look at his statistics.
Well, I mean, this is Wikipedia, so forgive us if it's not quite accurate, but just bringing it up there. 186 appearances, 23 goals for a midfielder. I mean, you should be doubling those goals. But with the exception of that, that's not a bad return since 2019, It's not a bad return. And for the money that Newcastle paid for Miggy Almiron, which was around 21 million, which at the time was a club record.
They reckon it's much less than that, don't they? They reckon it's much more towards 15, 16. And it was put out as a higher figure, but I believe it wasn't.
Well, this is in the days of Mike Ashley, so yeah, let's just say that economical way of bookkeeping. But whatever he paid, let's between 16 and 21 million.
Yeah, whatever.
That's not a bad return for somebody who came in that era, I don't think. And he's been paid decent money, but he has been loyal, I guess. He's been loyal as a player, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and as I say, he did really well. He went to the Champions League, of course. Without those goals, we wouldn't have got there. So we have to thank him for that, And I'm sure if he ever does come back do a talking or whatever, he'll get some sort of, he'll get a good round of applause, and they'll no doubt talk about the purple patch and all the rest of it. But yeah, as Jeff says, he was a 10, and I remember his first game because if we remember, we all thought, oh, he looks a player because Rafa played him as number 10, and I remember he beat a player, ran through the pitch, chipped the goalkeeper, and it hit the bar. And it was a great effort, but it didn't go in, and it almost sums up his career.
Yeah.
So yeah, good luck. I've got nothing but good. Wish him well. But yeah, his end product wasn't great. But as I keep saying, and I've said it a number of times now, he's played out the wrong position. So it's very difficult to judge a player because when he went and played for his country, he'd score goals. So it can't be a coincidence he's played in the correct position that he scores goals. So there is obviously a little bit more to him. But unfortunately, Newcastle don't play that style of football with a number 10.
Yeah.
You know, so
Mark says he was a workaholic, can't deny that, but he's also very frustrating to watch. The club's outgrown
massively.
the lad, that's all. He won't be missed at all by you, Mark, definitely not. I think he's off to work now before he has a pop at anybody else. But no, thanks for watching, Mark. Have a good day at work, mate. Hope you and the family are well. I'll just always remember Malcolm's, views on Miggy Almiron, and that was simply that, well, he runs around. And if the doors were open at the Gallagher end, he would run straight through them and carry on running. That's basically what Malcolm used to say. And I mean, everyone refers to the smile. I mean, probably the happiest player we've ever had at St James Park. Even when things weren't going well and he was making mistakes, he was always smiling. So it's one of those things. You'd be wrong. He will be remembered fondly. You certainly wouldn't put him in the same kind of category as Wayne Faraday, for example. There was always a lot
absolutely
worse.
Not. Absolutely,
he was fast. Just forgot to take the ball with him. Mickey gave everything and clearly enjoyed life here. That can't be said about all of them, and was a legend in his own strange way. No doubt he had limitations. And Rob Maltman, our designer, good afternoon, Rob. Hope you're well, mate. I'm glad your brother had a good time at the Entertainers. He says, Mickey sits in the Kevin Keegan mantra, replace players with better players. He did all he could for the club. As we all say, we only ask for players who give 100% every time. Well said,
Spot
Rob.
on, Robert.
Well said.
Spot on. Yeah, absolutely bang on.
Okay, I just want to point you to a little announcement that we made last night, and that was about our good friend, bottom right there, who passed away during COVID, Chris Ayus. And we've been asked to put this out this week, and I've agreed to put it out over the course of the next few nights and afternoon show, because he did pass away in 2021. Chris was part of a squad of us who travelled down to London by bus and train to protest outside number 10 Downing Street and the EPL head office about the takeover. Chris's parents have been good friends with the food bank, raised lots of money for the food bank with the help of NUFC Matters, are flying in from California this weekend as part of a memorial service towards Chris's memory. They are going to be attending the Fulham game, and they are going to be in the Tyneside Irish Centre at 12:30. So they've asked us to pass this on, and they basically would love to meet as many of Chris's friends, people who knew Chris, people who spoke to Chris, even viewers of the show. They'd love to see as many of you as possible. If you can come along to the Irish Centre at 12:30 on Saturday before the match to see Marcia and George. Dave Havery's pulling all of this together. Dave will be there as well. But yeah, 12:30 onwards, they will be at the Tyneside Irish Centre. They're just asking people to pop in. And if you haven't been at the Tyneside Irish Centre before, there are usually a couple of doormen on the door, and they just ask you to make a donation towards the club. It's usually a quid, so just make sure you've got a £1 coin in your pocket if you are going along to that. But a lovely opportunity for people just to meet the family, and I know it would mean a lot to them. Chris was a vital part of the community, the NUFC Matters community during lockdown, helped us do a lot of shows, and comical at times with his he's running across London with his phone in his hand and his earpieces in, and giving us a running commentary on his views on Newcastle. But he's a lovely guy, taken from us far too soon. Okay,
I used to always love listening to him on the show. I used to really enjoy listening to him. He was
lovely guy,
great crack. I wished I could make it on Saturday. Unfortunately, I'm taking my daughter down to Loughborough this weekend at uni. But yeah, what a top guy. I was gutted when I heard that he passed. So yeah, condolences. Just top man and funny man.
Certainly was. Okay, we are halfway through the show. Time for the ads.
A big thanks to all our sponsors. Skips and Bins. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. Contact them at their website, skipsandbins.com/contact. Visit their website, skipsandbins.com. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can contact them at their website, mrvickys.co.uk. Email info@mrvickys.co.uk. Telephone 01768 210 102. A big thanks to United Group Travel, 2024 tour operator winner, 2 crew, driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels and no interchanges. All excursions included. Website is www.unitedgrouptravel.com. Email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com. 01670 632 460 is the office number, or the mobile 0791 666 4174. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. A big thanks to Media Arts for all the technical side of things. Their website is media-arts.co.uk. If you want to listen to us as a podcast, you can find us on Sports Social. You can also find us on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast providers. If you want to support the channel, hit the thumb up under the video, that's your like button. Click share to share to your other social media. Click the subscribe button and subscribe to us for free. Or click the join button. You can also check out our description under the video. You can buy us a coffee, or you can become a Patreon member. There are some events to look out for this year. An afternoon with Sellers Ferdinand takes place on the 6th of April, 12 o'clock till 4 p.m. at the O2 City Hall. Tickets for that event are from ticketmaster.co.uk. The Clooney are holding a new event called No Covers, with local bands playing songs and no covers. Chris Norris Band, Lilac Lane and Ryder are featured on the 27th of April, and that is 12 till 4. Tickets are from theclooney.com or by calling 0191 230 4474. An evening with Steve Howie and Steve Watson, hosted by Joe Allen, takes place on the 27th of June, and that is at the Tyneside Irish Centre. Tickets from newcastlelegends.com. And an evening with John Beresford, and that one is hosted by John Gibson, 25th of July 2025 at the Tyneside Irish Centre. Tickets from newcastlelegends.com. And the Tyne Theatre has now got the tickets on sale for January 2026 for an evening with Beardsley and Waddle. Box office is 0844 246 1000. Website tynetheatreoperahouse.tv. And if music's your thing, Bad Manners will be on at the City Hall in January 2026. Tickets are available from ticketmaster.co.uk. And we've got limited edition signed copies of The Entertainer's book by 10 of the entertainers. Go to newcastlelegends.com to buy your book today.
And it's that part of the show where we welcome Rob to the screen. How are you, Rob?
Very good, gentlemen. Are you both okay?
Yeah, good, Rob. Good to see you.
All good,
and
mate.
you?
And it's not an album that Rob won't be reviewing today. It's a single. Head Over Heels in Love. Move On Down by Kevin Keegan.
Classic.
Absolute
Okay.
classic. I've got that. It's a great
Have you?
single. Yeah. I don't play it very often. I don't want to spoil it. That shirt though that Kevin's wearing, dear me, unbelievable.
He's gone for the full Barry Gibb look there, hasn't he?
Certainly has. But he wasn't afraid to give it a go. He didn't do much after that. That's to be said. But Rob, welcome. What is the new name all about?
Well, it's just a little teaser, shall we say. I mean, it could mean subculture. It could mean a crossover between UK subs and the cult. You never know. You never know.
Okay. Well, more will be revealed, I'm sure, in due course.
Yeah.
And over to you on your album. And it was a Sid suggestion, I believe.
I thought it was a Steve suggestion, but we're going on this.
Dire Straits, Steve Hasty.
Yeah.
Steve
good on.
Hasty.
Said I'm doing your album next week. Just before I go further, this is my pressing of it, and I was looking at other ones, most of them were opening with Sultans of Swing. Sid, I don't know if you're aware of this, but side B on this one opens with Sultans of Swing. Ring any bells? Everyone I've seen opening with Sultans of Swing. But anyway, I'll just let you have a bit of research on that.
Yeah. So mine starts off with Down to the Waterline.
Right. Other ones I'm looking at.
Sultans of Swing side 2.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So this was produced in Notting Hill by Muff Winwood. I wonder if he'll be doing an album I won't be reviewing next week. I know. Sorry. Steve Hasty, thanks for recommending this album. It was lovely meeting you at the end of season party. I'll be at the next one to see you all again. So this was the Dire Straits' first debut album from 1977. Mark and David Knopfler, also known, I think, as the Cafe Racers. It opens with Down the Waterline. It's quite an emotional intro with Mark. It's a nice 14-inch dark crash cymbal accent on this one. It kicks in this song, a really, really good opener. Very similar chords and arrangements to Sultans of Swing, I have to say. You got Water of Love. Nice slide guitar intro. Then this sort of gives me a bit of a road trip feel. It's a nice hand percussion. It's an all acoustic song. I really like that one. It's quite moody, really good. You got Setting Me Up, really good sort of up tempo one. Reminds me again of, it's just more. It's just sort of more of a rockier one. It's sort of round the kit, rack toms, kicks in, nifty, catchy guitars. It reminded me of YI Man that was on A Wiedersehen Pet. Very similar again, arrangements. But again, that was a great song on its own. You've got Six Blade Knife. Very, very loose bass strings on this one, or it's a double bass. I don't know. Again, deep, moody, atmospheric, really relaxing, sort of like pain and angst, but romantic. I quite like that as well. You've got Southbound again. Really good intro. Again, snap and shappy, which I wasn't really expecting, and I don't know why. But great chord changes. It's sort of like a nice bright summer feel to this one. And it does have an annoying cowbell throughout the whole song. Turn it over, you've got side B, Sultans of Swing. I hadn't heard this in ages, but then I remembered that band, Sultans of Ping. Was it Sultans of Ping FC? That's sort of like a student indie band in the 90s. I like the lyrics on this. I don't give a damn about any trumpet playing band that ain't what we call rock and roll. Really good. Sort of sublime song again, top drawer. Production is brilliant. It's got a really, really warm, deep production on this album, on my setup anyway. And again, the guitar solo stands out massively. Brilliant song. 1978. It's not dated at all. You got In the Gallery. This is a 6.5 minute track. It's again quite sultry. Brilliant. Again, production. It's sort of like got more of a funky reggae feel, which I wasn't expecting. Really good, works well on the album. So far, there isn't like a down song, that song that I don't think should be there, doesn't fit well. It just flows really, really well. You got Wild West End. It's like sort of art in a way. How you get like bands like Roxy Music, it's like right art. It's just like a watercolor theme for me. Dire Straits. Nice steel guitar on it. Simple rim shot throughout it. Really a nice subtle song again. It's just gentle. It's just nice to have on in the background. This album. You got track 9, the final song, Lions. Again, paint your picture lyrics. Lovely song. It's again nothing on this album has been overplayed. Nothing overproduced. There's a nice. I really like the backing vocals just before the guitar solo kicks in this song. So that's it. I really like listening to it, and I was going to sort of like do research on the artist. I really like it. Again, watercolor, I would imagine, but really good. But I'm going to give that an 8.5 out of 10 for that one. I really did enjoy it. Yeah. And also, can I ask Sid or viewers, what's the longest song title you know of any band? Just what I put out there. I was listening to a band called Win from Edinburgh, guys. And there's a song on the album called It May Be a Beautiful Sky Tonight, but It's Only a Shelter for the World at Risk. And to me, it's like, that's the name. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I mean, the Buzzcocks did ever fall in love with someone you shouldn't have fallen in love with, which was in brackets.
We're gonna have to get down to letter counting here. It's gonna have to be one of those. Yeah, that's an interesting one. All right, listen. If you've got an album for Rob to review, email us at nufcmatters1892@gmail.com with a suggestion, or stick it in the comments underneath the video if you are watching on YouTube.
I love
As
that
always,
Dire Straits album. I love the space on it. I love Mark Knopfler's guitar playing. I love it's got a real American sort of Americana, I even feel to it as well. But he's one of those great guitarists. You know it's him after literally one or two notes. It's like Brian May. You know who it is after one note. And great guitarists do that, you know. You can just tell who they are. Johnny Marr's another one. You know immediately who it is. And he's just fantastic. What a player. What a song.
well, I actually listened to that album as well because I knew Rob was reviewing it, and I thought, well, you know, I added it to my list this week because it was an album I hadn't listened to all the way through, and like Rob, you know, I love Down to the Waterline. In the Gallery's a great song. Sultans of Swing, but it's a great listen, and I think what you said, Rob, is it's a good little background listen as well. You know, you just stick it on in the background.
Yeah.
It's inintrusive to you could even read with that on in the background. Mozza as well in the chat underneath my post on Facebook said one of my favourite albums. Saw them live in Birmingham in the 80s, and it was a fantastic gig. So that's something that I think everybody really appreciates. Obviously, you know, other Dire Straits albums are probably more, you know, everybody knows the main album, but that one's a really good one. So if you haven't listened to it, give it a listen. But Sid, what have you brought this week?
I've gone with possibly the best album of the 90s, and that's OK Computer by Radiohead. It's certainly one of them anyway. Truly great album, released in 1997. So I absolutely love this album. It's got all sorts in terms of feel. It's got like sort of progressive rock. It's got Pink Floyd sort of sound to it. It's got a bit of an indie feel to it. It's got a Jeff Buckley feel to it. It's just fantastic. I really love this. And it was a groundbreaking album in terms of the Benz was a fantastic album. The second album was the debut was terrible, by the way. So this follows on, but it goes up to the next level. It really is a super album. I mean, it kicks off with Airbag, which is the idea of surviving a car crash, which I thought was quite clever, a little bit different. Paranoid Android, which is named from Marvin the Android and the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The song's in 4 sections. It's a range of different feelings of anger, loads of energy. The guitar playing is absolutely brilliant on it. I love it. The various layers of music are quite incredible. And I love the fact that in terms of it'll go into real full-on sort of mad, manic guitar and then tons of space with a little bit of strings or something. We've got Subterranean Homesick Alien, which is obviously a play on words of the Bob Dylan song, Subterranean Homesick Blues, about being isolated and depressed. And so there's the feeling of depression fits in with the sort of Radiohead theme, if you like. And it is one of their key themes that appears in lots of albums. Exit Music, one of my favorite tracks on the album, possibly my favorite track on the album, actually, written for Romeo and Juliet. And if you watch the film, it fits in perfectly. I absolutely love it. I love the little piano sound on it. And again, the space, it's just beautiful, gorgeous song. Let Down, probably my least favorite song on the album, but still a good song, bizarrely. Karma Police, an epic. I remove the swear word just because I appreciate the time of day that I've said. The song about unpleasant types is the rephrased way of saying it. Fitter Happier. I love this. The lyrics were taken from magazine clippings and read by a Macintosh computer. So I think it's quite. I love stuff like that. It's experimental. It's almost Beatlesy in some respects. If you think like Revolution Number 9, it's got something really weird about it. It's about lifestyles. We're all fitter, happier, more productive. But the final line's got a twist and shows that we've really become a pig in a cage of antibiotics. So it's like a tongue-in-cheek sort of lyric at the end there. Electioneering, song about politicians and the garbage that they spout, which is fairly appropriate. Climbing Up the Walls, Mental Disorder, again, fantastic tune. No Surprises has probably got one of the most iconic openings of any songs, with a glockenspiel opening. And again, against the idea like the ideal is just garbage. It's again the lyrics. It's sort of almost you could argue got like suicidal tendencies at times as well. It's very dark, but magnificent. And his voice is odd, isn't it? Because it's I've just should have described once. I think it was Ray Davies described, and I think eloquently actually, is almost being like having a saw and wobbling the saw and hearing the wobbling high pitched voice. And he's right. I think he's right. And it's a voice that's been mimicked many a times by other bands afterwards. And we all know who they are. And then we got Lucky, reminds me of Jeff Buckley, thematically similar to Airbag, and it's got a real Pink Floyd feel to it. And then the Tourist, it's like references, it slows down about life and about taking things in. And again, it goes back to Airbag again. So the album could be on loop, a bit like Dark Side of the Moon when it finishes with the opening. So the album's almost could be on a permanent loop, and it's got a real Floyd feel to it. So yeah, really like it. Yeah, well, I can understand that, Roger, but honestly, they've got some great albums. I absolutely love this album. So there we go. Top draw 5-star, obviously, album for me. Oaken Computer, one of the best albums of the 1990s. We did a show on it, all different viewpoints on this one as well. Somebody had it really quite low down, which I was genuinely shocked at. So with myself, Rod, and Jeremy from New York. So yeah, go crack that one. Like that one. As the weather was awful, and I thought we'd do a film, I really thought I could quite fancy being an Els Bells. So I've gone with, go on, put it on the board there, Carry On Abroad. Yes, folks, I've gone with it. It's class. I absolutely love a Carry On film, hence the nickname of Sid. Although I was into punk rock as well at the time, but my voice broke and somebody said you laugh like Sid James, so it's stuck. It's just a bonkers film. It's brilliant. I love the fact that it's supposed to be about going on a package holiday, which would just sort of become fashionable at this time in the early 70s, 1972. And it's actually shot at Pinewood Studios and in parts of Surrey and the car park. It's just brilliant. They all thought they were going to go to Spain. It's got the classic cast. You can see the names there. They're all great. Sid James, Kenneth Williams, Charles Hawtrey, Joan Sims, Barbara Windsor, Kenneth Connor, Big Birdie, all these sorts of, and Hattie Jakes, of course. What a cast. I just love it. Some of the names are amazing. I mean, Sid James, it goes under the name of Vic Flange, and, which you never get away with. And, he's trying to sort of a holiday to go to Els Bells so you can have an affair with Barbara Windsor's character, which ironically, of course, in real life he was having an affair with her. Kenneth Williams' character is actually called Stuart Farquhar.
Oh, matron!
Oh no! And
oh dear.
It's just absolutely brilliant. It's really funny. Loads of double entendres. You cannot whack them. I absolutely love them. You know, it's just very, very funny. Good old-fashioned bawdy humour. Yeah, I don't care if it's not PC. I absolutely love them. So there we go. And my little picture, Steve, there we go. I've got that on my wall. Proper signed autographs of Sid and Hattie. And my eldest daughter is actually called Hattie. So there we go. And our parents, bizarrely, were from Heaton. So there we go. Another little bit of trivia there for you thrown in.
All right, fantastic. Just stick this on your list, by the way, Rob. Let me just get to it. Purple Rain by Prince. Gary V recommended that. Hopefully you haven't forgotten it. So
I think I did that, didn't I, recently?
Yeah,
I think you might have, but I think he wants Rob to review it. So if you can review it, Rob, that would be great. As you know, I am doing an album challenge. I'm listening to an album a day. Recommendations I've been varied, but to pick out some of the albums I've listened to, one of them was from Sid this week, which was the Boomtown Rats. And Tonic for the Troops. Now, I've got to be honest, I wasn't expecting to enjoy this, but it was quite good. I'm not a Boomtown Rats fan, if you like. But yeah, I enjoyed it. She's So Modern, Howard Hughes and Rat Trap stood out for me on that particular album. Not a bad one. I've already said that I listened to the Dire Straits album this week. I did listen to a bit of Bon Jovi this week, which, again, something that I wasn't expecting to enjoy, and I was surprised how many songs I knew on this album. Bed of Roses, of course. If I Was Your Mother, Fear, and In These Arms. Some really, it's a quite a strong rock album, that one. So for me, yeah, I really enjoyed it. Mark Byers suggested that I listen to Ice Cube. So there you go, Mark. That is the answer to your question. Did you listen to the new Ice Cube album I sent you? Great album cover, by the way. Yeah, I did like it, Mark. I mean, I'm NWA and Eazy-E are obviously two of my favourites. Ice Cube, I've found it difficult at times to listen to some of his stuff. Haven't, some of it's been very much the same. Not bad though. It's My Ego, really good. And talking about these rappers is very, very good on here. Really enjoyed that, I've got to be honest. Meatloaf. I'd listened to Meatloaf before, but not this album. So again, that's the whole point. I'm listening to albums I've never listened to. Dead Ringer, it's great. Loved everything in it. Loved Everything Is Permitted. I'll Kill You if I Don't Come Back, and Read 'Em and Weep's a classic. But I'll listen to that again. I do like Meatloaf. I've got to be perfectly honest. And last but by no means least, Adam and the Ants. Now, one of my mates, Barry Highmarsh, goes to see Adam and the Ants. Go to see him whenever he's on. But it struck us I'd never listened to any of this. And Sid in the comments of this said, you must have heard this. I hadn't. I'd never listened to it. Kings of the Wild Frontier. The album standouts for me were Press Darlings, Kings of the Wild Frontier, Dog Eat Dog. I found it eccentric, which is what he is. There's no doubt about it. I don't think he would take it as an offence calling him eccentric. And he's got more eccentric as age has grabbed him. So, yeah, listen, great. I'm loving this challenge. If you've got any suggestions, stick them in. Apologies if I've missed any. I've got quite a list to work through at the minute, though. But I am listening to Radiohead today, so I will give that a listen that Sid's recommended today. I'll give that a listen and let everybody know what I thought about it next week. But really good stuff. I listened to the Black Keys. No, I haven't, Chess.
Good album, actually. Yeah, I agree.
I'll add that to my list. And Rob Maltman says, loving the music talk, boys. I'm a former radio DJ. I'm going through a Buddy Holly phase at the moment. Any chance of some Buddy reviews, Rob?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got 2 or 3 now on my list. So Sid's album next week.
All right, good stuff. Great to see you, Rob, as always. Good to have you on the show. Looking forward to your review next week. We will see you then. Take care.
Okay, take care, guys.
Okay, good to have Rob on. We will finish off today's show by getting back to football for Jopadoni, because he doesn't like the music stuff, he says. But Fulham at home are next up at St James's Park. It's a 3:00 kickoff, and the team, of course, to follow. For Fulham, early team news: Harry Wilson's doubtful with a twisted ankle. Ahead of their visit to Tyneside, the Cottagers have lost 1-0 at home to Manchester United on Sunday evening. And on the road, this
sent off for me for that 2-footed challenge. The guy who actually scored the winner for Man United.
Yeah, I would agree, mate. I would agree. On the road this season, Marco Silva's side have won 4: Forest, Palace, Chelsea and Leicester. So they are a threat. They've drawn 4: Ipswich, Everton, Spurs and Liverpool. They've lost 3: Manchester United, Manchester City and West Ham. So this is not an easy game. Believe you me, this isn't an easy game. Referee, as Tom Dixon has mentioned, is Chris Kavanagh, fresh from his VAR duty at Southampton game on Saturday. He takes charge of his 3rd Newcastle United game, the 2-1 Premier League win at Wolves, the 2-0 Carabao Cup victory against Chelsea at St James's Park. And on VAR is a name I've never seen before, Alex Chilowich. So a new name on VAR for Newcastle United. So it's not an easy game, this year. I mean, I know not any game in the Premier League is easy, but yeah, this is a potential banana skin, and it's a big, coming into a big week, because obviously we've got the second leg of the semi-final next week.
Yeah, I mean, they're one of the also-rans, aren't they, really, in terms of being a team? I mean, they're not a massive team, Fulham, obviously, in terms of where they are, logistically within London, right next door to Chelsea. But they're an interesting team. Marco Silva's got them playing nice football. He's bought really well in the summer. I thought Anderson was a really good buy, and a couple of other players was very, very good. I think they play nice football. I think he's a decent manager. I loved him kicking off about Man United the other day in terms of the press conference. I don't know if you saw it, Steve, when the commentators were just continuously talking about Manchester United, and he just basically said, "Oh, this is it. This is a Fulham sort of interview. We're talking about my team. We're not interested in Manchester United." And I thought, quite right. Very much like that commentator who rabbited on about Arsenal when we scored the second goal the other day. You know, it's the whole thing just stinks. There is certain clubs are clearly favoured, and it just stinks. And I think other clubs are getting really fed up with it now. And I was really pleased to see him speak out. I thought that was really good. So well done to him. However, they're a good team. I expect us to win. Unfortunately, I can't be there this weekend. I was saying earlier on, I'm taking my my youngest down to uni at the weekend. So my mate's going. So I'm gonna. I don't know how I'm gonna even hear it in the middle of flipping Loughborough or Leicester. I have no idea. So maybe he's on one of these shows when they talk it through. I'll try and drag that in. You might won't be happy. But it's a tough game. I think it's a tough game. As you see, we've got 3 games in a week as well, which makes it challenging in terms of the squad. Because obviously the priority has to be the Arsenal game, has to be. But so does this one. So how do you balance it out properly? I would first of all definitely bring Botman back in and drop Share. He has to be dropped, I'm afraid. And then keep the rest of the team as is. If we get up 2 or 3 up, then you've got the opportunity to quickly put some of the bench players on. But it's not an easy game at all. I think they are a good team. I think they'll score. They tend to seem to score whenever they go away. They've got something about them as a team. They're hard to break down. But they do play front foot football, which I think always gives us an opportunity of getting past players. So did they beat us down at their ground as well? I'm sure did they tongue us or did they just...
Yeah, they did 3-1.
Oh, they're hard. So we've got something that we've got to give back to them as well, you know. So they'll be well aware of the situation. They beat us well as well, from what I remember. So I think the scoreline will be reversed this weekend. I think it will flip and it'll be 3-1. And again, I wouldn't be surprised to see them score first, which I'm getting, if I must put out, I'm getting rather sick of seeing the opposition scoring first and Newcastle having to come from behind to win, which is magic to do, but it's a bit annoying, you know. So let's just try and sort of keep a clean sheet if we can. And we've got the ammunition to beat anybody at St James's Park. And I know we didn't do it against Bournemouth, but we have got the ammo on our day when we're all at it to beat any team in the world, really. When we're on it. So I'm expecting us to go up there and win 3-1. And again, I'll expect Isa to keep up that goal scoring streak. And I'm going to go for Murphy to score. Ooh. So there we go. I'm going to go for Jacob Murphy to score one. So yeah, tough game though. They're a good team. I like them a lot. Good fans as well. I've met a few Fulham fans in my past when I lived in London for a short spell. And they're really nice people. So yeah.
Great stuff. The clock has beaten us once again. We will be back next week. Probably be a pre-record next week. Quite a busy week for me. But thank you, Sid. Great to be live. There's 400 watching on X today. So if you are on X, jump over onto YouTube, search NUFC Matters and hit the subscribe button. And if you like the music stuff, go to Songs from the Attic on YouTube, find that and subscribe to that as well.
Got a blues show coming out this week. My top 10 blues albums. So there we have it.
Fantastic, mate. Great stuff, Sid. Thank you very much, mate. Take care.
Take care, folks. Bye-bye.